families devastated, a nation in shock, and a community in mourning.
I couldn't stop hugging it. I slept in a bed last night next to it. I couldn't stop staring at it because it's just, you expect your children to be safe.
It is hard to think of anything more innocent than a Taylor Swift dance class at a summer holiday club for 6 to 11-year-olds. But that was the target for a masked attacker with a knife.
And as people came to terms with the horrific events, disinformation spread and tensions erupted onto the streets.
They've been clashing now violently with police, throwing objects at the police, clashing with officers in riot gear. And this really is a very tense situation and an already horrendous time for Southport.
The accused, a teenager, barely more than a child himself. This is the story of how the sleepy seaside town of Southport became a scene of terror and grief, how a dance class became deadly, and how anguish turned to anger. The horror began just before midday on the 29th of July, a week into the school holidays. Emergency services were called to Hart Street nearby after reports that a masked attacker had entered a Taylor Swift-themed dance class. When they arrived, they found multiple people, most of them children, suffering serious stab wounds. Our correspondent reported on the chaotic and distressing aftermath.
The scale of the emergency services response in this residential road only goes so far to reflect the horror that unfolded here this lunchtime. Witnesses who saw mothers screaming in the street, young children among those injured in a series of stabbings at a summer holiday club. Colin owns a garage next door. He told me what he saw was like something out of a horror movie after seeing a masked man arrive in a taxi.
He was literally covered up, had a green hoodie on and paper, you know, one of them COVID masks. He went next door, I went back into work. The next thing, one of my colleagues screaming down the phone at me, "You need to get out here now." And when I went out, he's holding like a 6-year-old girl in his arms, covered in blood, trying to save her. He'd been in the building more or less and got her out. He needs a medal. And then the others were coming out, and then I noticed some more on the floor over here.
The North West Ambulance Service said it had treated 8 people for stab wounds, some of them taken to Alderhay Children's Hospital, as Merseyside Police declared a major incident. Officers were called to Hart Street in Southport just before midday. ITV News understands the incident happened at a community hub and pregnancy care centre where a Taylor Swift dance and yoga workshop was being held. Armed officers seized a knife and made an arrest. Now police say a 17-year-old is in custody. Ryan's mother lives on the street. He didn't want to show his face, but told us what she saw.
There was a woman who was screaming, saying that a child is lost, or she can't find a child. And they let her into the cordon, and she ran down, and Mum said all she could hear was screaming and crying, saying, "That's my child, that's my child."
This evening, a house 5 miles from the scene was being searched in connection with the incident, which police say they do not think was terror-related. The Prime Minister called it horrendous and shocking as the Home Secretary spoke in the Commons.
I know the whole House will be very concerned at the extremely serious incident that has taken place in Southport. All of our thoughts will be with the family and loved ones of those who are affected.
Tonight, in this community, that sense of shock is matched by disbelief that a summer holiday activity aimed at such young children could be targeted in this way. I've spoken to a number of people here today who witnessed the harrowing aftermath of this incident, many of them just too upset to go on camera and talk about it. Like the 2 women just a little bit further down the road from here who watched a woman pull up in a car. It was a mother who'd bundled her daughter into the back seat of the car, having heard what had happened. Her daughter had been stabbed. She was desperate. She didn't know what to do. The women tried to advise her, but she was too scared to come back up here to seek medical attention from the ambulances which had arrived at that point. I spoke to a community volunteer who had taken food and water and supplies to the emergency services who were mustering at a secondary school just round the corner from here. He realised when he was there that that was where parents were being told what had happened to their children. He said he had never heard screams like it.
As people struggle to come to terms with what happened, news emerged confirming the worst fears of so many locals. 2 children had died. Others were in hospital, some in a serious condition, fighting for their lives. Meanwhile, the police investigation was moving fast, trying to establish a motive. Our teams on the ground obtained exclusive footage of a masked figure filmed in an area where police were investigating shortly before the attack.
Around 20 minutes before the attack, this footage was filmed on a doorbell camera 5 miles away. Obtained by ITV News, it shows someone wearing a mask pacing around outside a house that's now being investigated by police. 2 hours later, armed officers are filmed arriving at the house. It followed the arrest of a 17-year-old boy. Police say the motive is unclear, but described it as a ferocious attack.
Watch the reflection in the car window. A suspected mass murderer is about to come into view. Where is he going? Hood up and face hidden behind a mask at just gone 11 on a sunny Monday morning. 5 minutes later, he returns, striding towards the direction he came from. This time, we see one hand hidden inside his hoodie, his face still covered with a mask.
The suspect then walked back around this corner to a property here on Old School Close. We know at some point he called a taxi to take him to his target, a 15-minute drive away on Hart Street.
The following day, the death toll rose again, and for the first time we saw the innocent faces of this tragedy. Ben Chapman reported on the tributes from their heartbroken families.
9-year-old Alice Da Silva Aguiar, 6-year-old BB King, and 7-year-old Elsie Stancombe, 3 girls whose parents yesterday dropped them off at a holiday club and today released statements in their memory. Alice's family said, "Keep smiling and dancing like you love to do, our princess. Love from your hero, daddy and mummy." BB King's family said, "No words can describe the devastation that has hit our family as we try to deal with the loss of our little girl, BB." And Elsie's head teacher said she was a kind and caring friend to all who met her and was adored by everyone in our community. All day they've been remembered by people they never met, generations brought together in sorrow and anger at an attack which has hit too close to home.
It's the same room that my son played for hours in. People want more answers. People want to know what's going on. People aren't happy.
I had to take them out the club myself this summer because I don't feel like it's safe anymore.
Close to where yesterday they'd been confronted with such horror, the emergency services were among those adding to a wall of flowers as stories emerged of other heroes. Leanne Lucas, now fighting for her life in hospital after trying to defend the children, had organised the Taylor Swift dance class. The singer paid her own tribute, posting, "The horror of yesterday's attack is washing over me continuously and I'm just completely in shock. I'm at a complete loss for how to ever convey my sympathies to these families." The Prime Minister travelled to Southport this afternoon to thank those who he said had undoubtedly saved lives in the immediate aftermath. His thoughts with the victims' families.
I'm a father, and I cannot imagine what they are going through. But I also wanted to come here as quickly as possible to say a personal thank you face to face to all of you.
But later, after laying a wreath at the police cordon,
"When are you going to change to our children? Our children are dying here because of you."
he was heckled, a measure of the anger many people are feeling here.
Is that it? Is that the time you've got for us?
Alice Da Silva Aguiar died from her injuries in hospital. Her family, originally from the Portuguese island of Madeira, where her aunt Alberta told us of the trauma of losing her happy, smiling niece.
It's very painful. Nobody expected this. even more so in the way that it happened. A tragedy. Nobody in the world is prepared for this.
Another aunt, Ana Jesus, told our reporter she couldn't believe her niece was gone.
She's not deserved to be killed like that. She's just a lovely girl. She's always happy. She's always have a smile on her face. She loved dancing. She loved singing. She loved makeup on. She loved to have her hair nice. She likes to dress a princess. In the end, I went to Liverpool to meet them. I saw them. I'm there when she passed away. With the mum and dad. My heart is breaking because I feel for them. I don't know how they're going to survive. Sometimes we think it's not real. Sometimes we think it's not happening. She will come back. When I went and see her, when I look at her, I think she's alive. For me, she's still alive. I hold her hand and I kiss her. And for me, I think she's still alive.
How unfair does it feel?
Very unfair. She just, someone came, took her life. So much to live, so much to do for the world, and someone's just come and take her life.
How do you feel about the person who allegedly did this?
Angry. Angry. What is in his head? I don't feel sorry for him at all.
And memories of Alice are bittersweet.
She is very happy. She loves ice cream.
How does it make you feel looking at that picture now? Is it hard?
Hard. Very hard. I'm not going to see it anymore.
On Tuesday evening, the town all but stood still as hundreds of people gathered to share the grief and show support for the families affected. Stacey Foster witnessed the emotional scenes of solidarity at the vigil.
It could not have been more of a contrast to the protests that were to come. This was an opportunity to show compassion and togetherness.
For the fact that we all care, that we all support each other, that we've all just holding each other's hand, giving each other a hug, just making sure that everybody is okay.
Families holding their loved ones close in support of those at the centre of this local tragedy.
We came just to show our support for the families, didn't we? To show we're behind them 100%, and this should never ever have happened.
It does resonate. You know, you sometimes see it on the news and you think, oh, it's London, you know. Yes, it doesn't happen often, but it's more likely to when it's your own town. It really does hit home.
Myself and my daughters were at the Manchester Arena bombing, the Ariana Grande concert, and I feel like this community has come together in the same way as the Manchester community did as well. And I think while humanity can be really evil at times, it can also be really beautiful.
There were moments of absolute quiet, mixed with loud applause. The vigil was over in 15 minutes, but the crowd stayed for far longer. The Reverend Rachel Bray believes the wounds on this whole community will take a long time to heal.